Hey everyone, new place. That's the reason. That's why I haven't really been uploading much recently. I've just been so busy with, moving and all that stuff. Um, anyway, I just finished playing Outer Wilds like an hour ago, and I don't know what to say. So now this is gonna offend some people. I don't think it's quite a masterpiece. It's a great game. Don't get me wrong. Not exactly a masterpiece. Uh, so without getting into spoilers will be later in the video. Without getting into spoilers, the gameplay loop is very cool, very interesting, um, and the exploration was extremely well done. Actually, one planet, if you've played the game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. One planet had me more scared than any other game I've played. So I had a lot of, and so exploring the game. Sorry, I got distracted. So uh, exploring this world and uncovering the story and you know seeing all the things that every planet, like different planets, have to offer. It always blew my mind. It was so interesting, but I did have some issues. First of all, it's not really the most engaging or interesting gameplay. You're it's just a walking simulator, right? You basically just walking around reading stuff, which was very interesting story, but not exactly fun gameplay. Especially when you get to certain points where you're not really sure what to do or where to go, and the game gives you very little hints. So you're just walking around hoping to stumble upon something. I wasn't a fan of that. Uh, Aside from that, the characters were very enjoyable, and I, I looked up after because I only got one ending. There's a total of six endings in the game. I got one ending. So after I was done, I looked up the other endings and stuff. Honestly, this game has a lot of surprisingly just comedic moments that you might never stumble upon if you if you don't think to take the necessary steps for it. But I mean, the game is fun. The game is fun. The characters are fun, and the story, like I said, is interesting. I'm just repeating myself at this point. The music is great. I've already explained like there's one planet that has like made me genuinely like so scared. My heart was like pounding. But honestly, all the planets, they really nailed the space exploration. There you go. They really nailed that space exploration, that fear of space. You know, it's very similar to how like Subnautica, right? When you're in Subnautica and you're in the ocean, it's just nothingness. It's like terrifying. And you're like, I don't want to keep going. But you know you have to. If you played Subnautica, you know what I mean. Outer Wilds is very similar in that sense. A lot of times when you're in outer space, you would like misjudge, right? Because it's so vast, it's so empty. You misjudge the distance between you and the planet. You misjudge the speed you're moving at. So like you'd be going to a planet and then you don't realize it until you're like right there. You're like, oh crap, I need to slow down. You start slowing down, but it's too late and you just crash right into the planet. Or maybe you slow down in time, or maybe you start slowing down, but you don't take into account the planet's gravity. So then the gravity starts pulling you down. But then you're slowing down is not enough, whatever. It's just they really nailed space exploration in this game. The music, there's not really much music. There's maybe like 3 or 4 soundtracks in the whole game. They're pretty good. They're pretty enjoyable. Uh, Now we're gonna get into the spoiler section because I there's a few things I want to talk about, the things that really bother me about the game, but they need to be kind of spoilery. Um, so basically, you have warning, spoilers. There's gonna be spoilers coming up. Just I think I've given enough time, enough warning for you to click off the video if you didn't want spoilers. If you get spoiled, that's your fault. So the shuttles. This pissed me off the most. When I went to Brittle Hollow and I discovered the shuttle, I guess, and I recalled it and I went in the shuttle and I read the thing and it said that he landed on, and Solanum landed on the quantum moon stuff. And I'm like, oh, so I'm supposed to use this shuttle to go to the quantum moon. That was my understanding. So I go to control the shuttle. There's 3 controls, as you might very well know. You could either launch, stop, recall. I'm like, okay, I'll just launch. I'll just launch and it will take me to the quantum mode. So I launch and instantly it just slams. I don't know how that happens. It just slams into the tower thing and I just die. And I'm like, what even just happened? Anyway, okay, well, let me go back there and try again. So I go back there and I launch. This time I don't crash into the tower before even like um, comprehending what happened. I launch and I just float off into space. Nothing happens. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm supposed to wait for the quantum moon to align and then launch. And then because the quantum moon will be right in front of the shuttle, I'll be actually able to land on it, right? So I went back there and I used the signal scope, track the quantum moon. I spent maybe like half an hour, like literally, I mean, not half an hour, 22 minutes, I guess. Literally like the entire 22 minutes, the entire cycle, waiting for the quantum moon to align with the shuttle. Okay, and I understood how the quantum moon works, right? You look away, you look back, you look away, you look back, and then it kept doing it until it finally aligned with the shuttle. There you go. I launched the shuttle, and it just goes right through the quantum moon. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how to use this shuttle. Okay, maybe, maybe the shuttle on Ember Twin that goes to the interloper might help understand how to use the shuttles. Then I go to Ember Twin, and I take the shuttle, and I wait for the interloper to align and launch. But it's a comet. It is that shit is moving so fast. I miss. I'm like, this doesn't make sense. There's no way I have to time my launch with the comet and just get like perfectly. That's too tight of a timing. You can't expect a human to do this without math. without like actually doing the math for it. That doesn't make sense. But I try again and again. It doesn't work. At this point, I'm fed up. I'm like, it doesn't make sense to land on the comet with my ship because the comet is moving fast. It doesn't make sense to land on a quantum moon with my ship because it disappears. At this point, I hadn't even like found the thing on the the tower of quantum whatever on Giant's Deep. So I didn't know about like taking a picture of the thing and stuff. But anyway, I'm like, what the hell are these shuttles for? I got frustrated. Okay, at this point, I've been like more than 2 hours trying to figure out how to work the shuttles. Nothing's happening. Nothing's working. So I search it up. Unfortunately, I search up. I don't like searching stuff up, but what else was I gonna do? Thankfully, I didn't get spoiled on anything. I just saw someone say, you're not supposed to use the shuttles. Then why is there an option to use the shuttles? If you're not supposed to use the shuttles, why is there an option to use them? This is so misleading. Like, I hated that. And Ghost Matter, that was the worst goddamn mechanic. Please, if there's going to be a sequel, don't do this shit again. This whole like thing that if you touch it, it instantly kills you. So you have to take pictures like take pictures with the camera to make sure that there's nothing there. It's not interesting, it's not fun, it's just annoying, especially in the comet when you're trying to get to like the center of the comet and you're on slippery ice, so you have to launch the scout ahead, but then because the scout is moving so fast you don't really get to see very clearly, and it's dark and all of this. I just hated that. And also, I spent maybe more than half the game. I think I finished like 80% of the game without ever going into any of the ghost matter areas because I didn't know how to navigate it. And I didn't even know. And I thought it was going to be something important. And it turns out none of the ghost matter areas are relevant to the story at all. Not even the comet. Not even the comet. The comet was just some side thing to learn how the whatever the Nomai died. Look at it does nothing to the story. It has nothing to do with the quantum moon. It has nothing to do with the Ashwin project or none of that stuff. When they said that the guy, when he went down the surface, like below the surface of the comet, and he just disappeared, I thought that inside the comet there was maybe some kind of like quantum portal, something like related to the quantum moon that would teleport you inside the tornado, the big tornado on Giant's Deep. Because the big tornado on Giant's Deep, I saw that there was using the signal scope, that there's a quantum thing inside there. I didn't know what it was. And I thought, oh, I can't get inside the tornado. I didn't think about like just going in there. So I thought maybe I have to teleport there somehow. And the whole thing with the comet was just pointless. It did nothing. I'm like, okay. Even the quantum moon, like, okay, I went through all of this effort. I landed the quantum moon, and don't get me wrong, I love the quantum moon. I think it was cool as hell how it like adapts the properties of whatever planet it's orbiting, and how in order to like navigate your way to the North Pole, you had to take advantage of the quantum properties to actually make it to the North Pole. And then when you do, you meet Solanum, yeah, a living Nomai, and you get all this exposition. I loved it, but unnecessary. Again, it is so 100% optional. Are you kidding me? The quantum moon, this was the biggest mystery. This was an even bigger mystery to me. The quantum moon is an even bigger mystery to me than like the eye of the universe. It was an even bigger mystery than like the Astro Project or any of that stuff. I was by far the most interesting thing in the game was the quantum moon. And you're telling me it was side content? It wasn't even necessary to beat the game. Doesn't make any sense. How? Anyway, I am. The review was over like 5 minutes, 10 minutes ago, and I just spent 10 minutes rambling. Yeah, game was fun. Don't get me wrong. I like the game, but it has some serious flaws in my opinion. Overall, though, if I had to give it a rating, I'd say a solid like 8 out of 10. It's not a masterpiece. I didn't like it as much as I'm just doing this comparison because it's something that I played recently. Didn't like it as much as I did like Nine Souls, Sea of Stars, Inscription. But a solid game regardless. I would definitely recommend it. It's an 8 out of 10. So yeah, take care.